So yeah, Vinodbhai is going to be talking to us a story about Mrugaputra from Uttaradhyana Sutra. Before we start our evening, can I request Hina Ben to start with the prayers and maybe do a small prayer for the war in Ukraine and Russia, and hopefully everybody gets Sadbuddhi Appe Bhagwan and they stop the war. Hina Ben?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Parthiben. Welcome everybody. Jai Jinendra. I will say Navkar mantra first. Namo Arhantanam, Namo Namo, Namo Sithanam, Namo Namo, Namo Ariyanam, Namo Namo, Namo Uvachayanam, Namo Namo, Namo Loe Sabasahunam, Namo Loe Sabasahunam. Eso Panjanamukaro Sabapab Panasano Mangalanancha Sarvesim Padamam Havai Mangalam Padamam Havai Mangalam. Now, to bring the peace in the world, we will say Uttaradhyana Sutra 2 times and then few chanting Santinath Bhagwan jap. So first I'll say Uttaradhyana Sutra. Usakaharam pasam pasam vandami kammagadamokam visahar visaninnasam Mangal Kalyani Avasam Visahara Pulingamantam Kanti Tare Chosana Sayamanuo Tassa Rogamari Tuttujara Janti Uvasamam Chittaudure Manto तुझ प्रणामो भी बहु फलो होई नर तेरे सुविजीवा पावंती न दुख दोहकम तु सम्मते लब्धे चिंतामणि कप्पाय वपये पावंती अविकेणम जीवा ऐरामरं ठाणं यसन्तु महायस भक्तिवर्णिपरेण एणं तादेव दिच्च बोहिं भवे भवे पासजिनचन्द भवे भवे पासजिनचन्द Uvasakaharam pasam pasam mandami kammakanamukam visahara visaninnasam mangal kalyanayavasam visahara pulingamantam kante dare josayamaro tassa rogamari Tuttujara Janti Uvasamam Chittaudure Manto Tuj Pranamo Vibhav Falo Hoi Naratire Suvijiva Pavanti Na Dukha Dogacham Tu Sammatte Labde Chintamani Kappapaya Vapaye Pavanti Avikenam Jiva Airamaram Tanam Yasantu Mahayasa Pati Varni Parinaya Enam Tadeva Dechabohim Bhave bhave pasajina chanda. Bhave bhave pasajina chanda. Now I'll say Santinath Bhagwan Stotra. Chaitavaraham vasam chakavati mahityo santi santi kare loe pato gai manuttaram. Chaitavaraham vasam chakavati mahityo santi santi kare loe pato gai manuttaram. Chaitavaraham vasam Chakavati mahityo santi santi kare loe pato gai manuttaram. Chaitavaraham vasam Chakavati mahityo santi santi kare loe pato gai manuttaram. Chaitavaraham vasam Chakavati mahityo santi santi kare loe pato gai manuttaram. Pato gai manuttaram.
Thank you, Hinaben, for the beautiful prayers. And
Thank you.
hopefully, it brings peace to everyone. All right, Vinodbhai, we can start.
Yeah, sure.
It was recited very nicely. I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Jai Jinendra. Pranam. Of course, we are just 4 years, but we'll try to learn something. We all are students in this venture, in our classes, and we are learning. We are learning Uttaradhyayana Sutra right now. And let me give you some background. Maybe repetition, but I will explain this in my own way. Uttaradhyayana Sutra is one of the 45 agams for Shwetambar Murti Pujak Jains and one of the 32 agams in the series of Shwetambar Sthanakvasi Jains. It's a very important text. It has been regarded as the last sermon of Bhagwan Mahavir. Just before Bhagwan Mahavir's Nirvana, he had an assembly, what we call Samavasarana, and he continuously preached in the Samavasarana for 48 hours. 48 કલાક સુધી એમણે સતત દેશના આપી. The discourse he had given has been preserved in Uttaradhyayana Sutra, in 36 chapters of the Uttaradhyayana Sutra. The name Uttaradhyayana has got 2 words, Uttar and Adhyayan. Uttar and Adhyayan. So in Sanskrit language, when 2 words come together, it forms a sandhi combination and it becomes just one word. So Uttar and Adhyayan, that has been removed from Adhyayan, but in Uttar, it merges and becomes Uttara. So Uttar Adhyayan becomes Uttara Dhyayan. So just what is the meaning of Uttara Dhyayan? Uttar means answer. Uttar means north direction. And Uttar means something which comes later on, like Purva, Uttara. Here, the Purva and Uttara are not 2 directions, but Purva means what happened before, and Uttar means what happened afterward. So Uttaradhyana is something what happened afterward, or what has been given as the answers, Uttar. Right. As I said, there are 36 chapters. The names of the chapter, I must say that a lot of our people, those who are not well versed in Gujarati or Sanskrit or Prakrit, they usually either mispronounce it or they misunderstand it. To give you one or two examples, Mrugaputra, this is the subject of today, chapter number 19 of Uttaradhyana Sutra. The name of the chapter is Mrugaputra. So what does it mean? Mrugaputra means about the life of Mrugaputra. Person's name is not Mrugaputra. That is where some of the teachers, some of the students, some of other people, they are mistaken. Mrugaputra is not the name. Name is Mrugaputra. And when we say Mrugaputra, that means a story or the incident or this talk is regarding Mrugaputra. So chapter's name is Mrugaputra. Similarly, Harikesiya. Person's name is not Harikesiya. A lot of people have misunderstood this and said, oh, his name was Harikesiya, Harikesiya, Harikesiya. No, name was Harikesi. And why it is chapter is called Harikesiya? Because it is regarding Harikesi Muni. That is why it's called Harikesiya. Or even people pronounce it at Harikesiya. Again, what happens? Yoga has been pronounced as yoga. Krishna has pronounced as Krishna. That is what again happens. Because in the original Sanskrit or Prakrit names, we add A. Krishna was, because we write A at the end, people have started saying Krishna. His name was Krishna. But we do yoga because Y-O-G-A. People write Y-O-G-A at the end. And people say yoga, yoga. And that has become a normal thing now, you know. Lord,
So originally it is Yog, is it? Yog, Krishna.
Yoga. Yoga is the perfect and correct word. Yoga is completely wrong. But it has become so, you know, widespread and so common that even the one who speaks yoga originally,
They're saying yoga.
yoga. Lord Rama, Mahavira, not Mahavira, is not Rama, and people are not Jaina, but Jains. So that A, why we are putting A at the end? Because in Sanskrit language, when we say yoga, or the original is yoga, the G has got slight stress, yoga. So to make it weighty, stressful, English have started putting A at the end. That doesn't mean yoga, but it's yoga, yoga. Because original English word is not original, I shouldn't say original English word, but the similar word in English is yoke, Y-O-K-E, jodvu. Yoga is same, jodvu. શરીરને આત્માની સાથે જોડવું એનું નામ યોગ. To combine our bodily functions with the divine or with our soul, that is yoga in essence. So yoga is everything. I mean, physical exercise, mental things, spiritual things, everything. So that is why Isukariya, these are the names. So today's topic is Mrugaputra. Mrugaputriya. Again, Mrugaputriya, as I said, the name is Murugaputra, and Mrugaputra means son of Muruga. Son of Muruga. In olden times, some people were known by their father's name or mother's name. If you have visited Indonesia, if you know something about Indonesia, this system is still being used there because there was a strong Hindu influence in Indonesia. The Hinduism is still there in Bali. But to give you one example, there was a president called Sukarno. Sukarno, Sara Kanwa. Barabar? And when his daughter came to power, her surname changed to, or her surname was Sukarno Putri. That was her surname, the daughter of Sukarno Putri. So a lot of things, you know. So Mrugaputra means the son of Mruga. Now let us learn something about Mrugaputra.
It's same in Middle East as well, right? Even now, because the way their names are, whatever, like, I mean, it's not a good example, but Osama bin Laden. But what that means is Osama's son, bin means son of Laden. So
yeah,
that's how even Middle Eastern names are
Middle
pronounced.
Eastern names are also probably more or less same thing. Yeah. So here, again.
It's like Arjun ne ઘણીવાર કૃષ્ણ એમ કહેતા ને કે કુંતી પુત્ર.
Kunti Putra, barabar, yeah.
These are extra names like Hanuman is a Pavan Putra or Anjani Putra. Yeah. But there the only name was like this, Murugaputra and other things. Something. Yeah. So let me share just a little thing for you. Can I share this? Am I on the screen fully?
Yeah, you're on the screen. Can you do share screen?
Let me try. It's just a couple of slides. No, disabled participant screen sharing here. Maybe it won't work. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Now it should. Yeah, I've made you co-host.
All right. Yeah.
Now it should.
Yeah, it will come. Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah, we can.
Chapter 19, Mrugaputra, the son of Muruga. Now, it starts like this. In the pleasant town of Sugriva, which is adorned with parks and gardens, there was the king called Balbhadra, and the queen's name was Muruga. Again, the spelling, you can see here, M-R-U-G-A, and I have done M-R-I-G-A. Yeah? You know why I've done these two spellings?
I think it's regional variation, right? The way
regional variation. Gujarati people always say Krupa, Rushi, like that. While in the North India and many other places, they say Kripa and Rishi, not Rushi. Gujarati people say Rushi, they say Rishi outside Gujarat, like Rishi Sunak here in Britain, right? So Mruga and Mriga. So that's what usually people outside Gujarat would spell. There is another difference. Gujarati people say Gnan, and all others say Gyan. Vignan, Vigyan. Agna, Agya. So this is the difference. So I thought I got this time, so let me explain a bit this as well. So Mruga was the name of the queen, Mruga. And the son name was Balasri. And then he came to be known as Mrugaputra. He was the crown prince, and he was living in the palace with his wife. One day he saw Shramana ascetic, a Jain monk, was practicing penance, self-restraint, self-control, ahimsa, sanyam, tap, એની સાધના કરનારા એક મુનિને જોયા. તો મૃગાપુત્રે ધ્યાનથી જોયું. He regarded him with fixed eyes, started sharing this ascetic, and then he suddenly remembered all about his past life. While he looked at the saint, and his mind became pure, the remembrance of his former birth came upon him. જાતિ સ્મરણ જ્ઞાન આપણે જેમ કહીએ છીએ ને, એવું એને થયું કે પહેલા એ કોણ હતો. After a while he remembered his previous birth and his having been a Shraman himself. તો એના previous birthમાં એ પોતે જ monk હતા, જૈન સાધુ. So there and then he thought of becoming a monk. એને વિચાર થયો કે મારે પણ સાધુ થઈ જવું છે. અને બધું યાદ આવ્યું એને કે in my past life I had learned 5 great vows. So far I have enjoyed pleasures which are like poisonous fruits. Their consequences are painful. Everything. Started remembering that in my past life I was doing all these things. And then he said, no, this is not relevant right now. Yeah. So he remembered about his past life, and he goes to his parents and said that, oh father, oh dear mother, I would like to leave everything behind and become a monk. And the whole chapter is about the dialogue of Mrugaputra and his parents. His parents are trying to explain him that what you are thinking of doing is not easy. It will be a very hard life. You won't be able to tolerate all this. You won't be able to do anything. Once you leave all these things, here you have a comfortable life. Palace, servants, slaves, your wife, your kids and kin, your wealth, hathi, ghoda, everything, good food, delicious meals every day. And what will happen if you become monk? You will be wandering from place to place, begging for your food. You will be sheltering in the open jungles, sleeping without your proper bed or anything. And the restraint, Sanyam kevo che? This is the thing says, restraint is tasteless as is a mouthful of sand. એક માણસ મિઠાઈ ખાતું હોય રોજ, એના બદલે રેતી સેન્ડ મોઢામાં મૂકે તો ટેસ્ટ કેવો લાગે? એવો ટેસ્ટ આ સંયમના માર્ગનો છે, તપના માર્ગનો છે. And to walk on the path of austerity is as hard as walking along the edge of sword. તલવારની ધાર ઉપર ચાલવા જેવું આ દુષ્કર કામ છે, કઠિન કામ છે, તો તું આ કરીશ નહીં. પણ dialogues goes on and on. Mrugaputra is trying to say that no, I don't want to stay here. I want to give up everything. I will have a detached life. And again, parents try to explain him. Some of the sutras, just English translation, I have marked. Right, I'll just read them from this book. Right, he says, as when a house is on fire, the landlord carries away valuable things and leaves behind those of no value. So when the whole world is on fire, as it were by old age and death, I shall save myself if you will permit me. Understand? To him, his parents said, son, difficult to perform are the duties of Sramana. Difficult to perform the duties of Sramana.
You are mute, Vinodbhai.
Hello.
Yeah, have some branch.
To him, his parents said, son, difficult to perform are the duties of a Sramana. A monk must possess thousands of virtues. Impartiality towards all beings in the world, whether friends or enemies, and abstention from injury to living beings throughout the whole life. This is a difficult duty. Hunger and thirst, heat and cold, molestation by flies and gnats, insults, miserable lodging, pricking grass, and uncleanliness. Sadhuone ka navanu પણ ન મળે. Blows and threats, corporal punishment and imprisonment, the mendicant's life and fruitless begging. All this is misery. And Mrugaputra says, O father and mother, it is even thus as you have plainly told. But in this word,
Vinodbhai,
huh?
sorry, what did they mean by prison
Prison means
for a mendicant?
sometimes what happens, they misunderstand people. Why he's wandering around in the open? You know what is his motives are, and that is what has happened to
Oh,
some
in the
monks.
village market.
Yeah. So એને લઈ જવામાં આવે, પછી એને prove કરવું પડે કે he has got no possession. He is not after anyone's possession or anything.
Yeah.
And so આ બધું ચાલે because he stays in meditation and they misunderstand.
Of course. Yeah.
We all know how Mahavir Swami was harassed and even unnecessarily punished by those ignorant people. Yeah. Mrugaputra કહે છે કે infinite number of times I have suffered dreadful pains of body and mind, repeatedly misery and dangers. તો એ શું કહે છે કે in my past life I have suffered everything. I have gone through everything. Even I was in Narak, hell. And then he describes what happens in the hell. I mean, there are quite a few sloka in this chapter. I don't want to describe it, but they're so horrible. Say, those who are in hell, they grow through so difficult times, so much harassment, so much punishment. And if you read in our other scripture, Paramadhami Devo, એ નરકમાં કેવી રીતે એને તેલમાં ઉકાળે છે ને કેવી રીતે મારે છે ને શું કરે છે ને હાથ પગ કાપી નાખે છે, આ બધું આપણે વાંચીએ તો આપણને કંપારી આવે. એટલે મુર્ગાપુત્ર is saying this, કે we go through all these things.
So એને ઘણા બધા ભાવનું સ્મરણ થયું.
એ કદાચ possible નથી, but that is what he is saying. કે હું પછી monk હતો and that was the best life I had, and for some reason because of my good karma, શુભ karma, not the annihilation of karma, કર્મનો ક્ષય નતો થયો, પણ ઘણીવાર શુભ કર્મને લીધે આવ્યો રાજાનો દીકરો થયો અને એટલા માટે મને સારું મળ્યું છે, પણ યુ કેન નોટ એચીવ મોક્ષ.
No.
બરાબર? મોક્ષ એનાથી ન મળે. મોક્ષ તો કેવી રીતે મળે? બધા
મનુષ્ય.
કર્મનો ક્ષય થાય ત્યારે જ મોક્ષ મળે. એટલે એમ કે છે કે મારે મોક્ષ જોઈએ છીએ અને એટલા માટે મારે બધું છોડી દેવું છે. એટલે ઘણું ટોટલ આ જે છે એમાં 98 શ્લોક છે. 98. અને આજ સન છે એ પેરેન્ટ્સને પોતાની વાત કરે છે કે ના મારે જવું છે. પેરેન્ટ્સ એમની રીતે વાત કરે છે અને એમ કે છે. જુઓ, પછી છેવટે પેરેન્ટ્સ કહે છે, ગો માય સન એઝ યુ પ્લીઝ. તને જેમ યોગ્ય લાગે તેમ તું કરજે. તો એને શું કર્યું? હિઝ પાવર, wealth, his friends, wives, sons and relations, he gave up as if he shook off the dust from his feet and then he went forth. બધું કેવી રીતે કાઢી નાખ્યું? આપણે પગે ધૂળ ચોંટી હોય અને આમાં હાથ કરીએ તો ધૂળ જતી રહે. એવી રીતે બધું એને તો ડિસ્કાર્ડ કરી નાખ્યું. મા બાપ ને ધન ને ધાન્ય ને બધું છોડી દીધું. આમાં બીજી એક કમ્પેરિઝન આગળ આવે છે કે સાપ જેમ કાંચય ઉતારે, સ્નેક હોય ને એની there is another skin which snake sheds off when the time comes and the new skin is underneath. નવી ચામડી હોય એટલે કાંચય એ કાઢી નાખે. એવી રીતે કે મારે આ બધું કાઢી નાખવું છે. અને પછી શું કહેશે છેલ્લે? Thus he thoroughly purified himself by knowledge, right conduct, faith, penance and pure meditation. And after having lived many years as a Shraman, he reached perfection after breaking his fast once only every month. એટલે આ રીતે એણે સમ્યક દર્શન, સમ્યક જ્ઞાન, સમ્યક ચારિત્રની સાધના કરી અને સાધુપણામાં ગુજાર્યા દિવસો અને છેવટે અતિ કઠિન તપશ્ચર્યા કરીને ઉપવાસ ઉપર ઉપવાસ, ઉપવાસ ઉપર ઉપવાસ કરીને મોક્ષમાં સીધા આવ્યા. When you have heard the words of the illustrious and famous son of Muruga, his perfect practice of austerity and his liberation, famous in the 3 words, you will despise wealth, the cause of misery and the fetter of egoism, the cause of many dangers, and you will bear the excellent and pleasant yoke of the law that leads to the great happiness of nirvana. એટલે છેલ્લું વાક્ય, છેલ્લો શ્લોક ભગવાન બોલે છે. કારણ કે ભગવાન ડિસ્કોર્સ કરે છે ને કે જ્યારે આ તમે વાત સાંભળો, આ શબ્દો બધા સાંભળો મૃગાપુત્રના, કે એણે પરફેક્ટલી સંયમ અને તપની સાધના કરી, એનો માર્ગ અપનાવ્યો અને ત્રણેય જગતને જીતે એવી સાધના કરી. આ રીતે એણે પોતાના અહંકારનો ત્યાગ કર્યો. See, the fetters of egoism, the cause of many dangers. Then what will happen? You will bear the excellent and pleasant yoke of the law that leads to the great happiness of nirvana. So Bhagwan Mahavir Swami in this last sloka says he attained final happiness, the final bliss, the nirvana after his strict penances. So that is where everything finished. And as I said, the 98 gathas in this Mrugaputra story as a story is not very long, but the discussion between Mrugaputra himself and his parents are quite interesting, worth learning. અને that એક શ્લોક એવો પણ આવે છે Okay, when your house is burning, what you will take with you? When you have to leave your house in a hurry, what you will take with you? You will take your valuable possessions, maybe jewelry, some cash, and you will take your wife, son, or whoever is the nearest ones. But you wouldn't bother about the TV and sofa set and other things, would you? No, you wouldn't. So when house is on fire, you will take the most precious thing. So when the time comes when you have to leave everything behind, you will worry about your Atma only, about your soul. That is what, there is another sloka like that, which I did not read, but I just remember it. So, okay. Any question or anything, we'll answer. Otherwise, we'll say Mangli can finish.
Question છે કે Mahavir last sermon આપતા હતા ત્યારે he had attained Kevaling.
After that, yeah.
હા, so એ તો ધ્યાનમાં હોય ને.
Yeah, એટલે કેવળ જ્ઞાન તો એમને પહેલા થઈ ગયું હતું. લાસ્ટ સમન પછી મોક્ષ થયું.
હા, તો એ તો ધ્યાનમાં હોય. So how would એનો voice નીકળે કે કેવી રીતે?
ના, એમ કહેવાય છે તમે if you read about સમૂહ શ્રવણ, એમની ભાષા હોય છે. એ ભાષા પણ પાછી કેવી હોય? This is one of the 8 પ્રતિહાર્ય. ભાષા is one of the 8 પ્રતિહાર્ય હોય ને, divine happening. એમાં one is ભાષા. તો એ ભાષા બધાને સંભળાય, સૌને પોતપોતાની લેંગ્વેજમાં સંભળાય. અને એટલે એમણે એમ કે આપણા શસ્ત્રો એમ કે છે, આપણા સ્ક્રિપ્ચર, કે એમણે સતત દેશના કરી બોલ્યા. મૂંગા નથી રહ્યા એમ કે છે સ્ક્રિપ્ચર. ખરેખર તો બોલ્યા, ઉપદેશ આપ્યો. અને એટલા માટે આમાં એવા વર્ડિંગ્સ છે કે thus I say. ગૌતમ સ્વામીને અને એમના શિષ્યોને એવું કે છે કે હું આ તમને જણાવું છું. thus I say. એવી રીતે એક પછી એક આવે છે.
ઓકે, થેન્ક યુ.
આ જે સ્ટોરી છે મૃગાપુત્રની, તો that means this Mrugaputra must have been previous times માં ને? એટલે મહાવીર સ્વામી obviously આ કહે છે, એટલે he was not during Mahavir Swami na time.
No. Because Mahavir Swami is narrating this story at Mrugaputra might have born long time ago before Mahavir Swami. Yes. It's true, right? Of course, in this book by Herman Jacobi, Jacobi says that he was born during the time of Lord Adinath. Of course, we do not know this, but this is what they are saying.
It seems quite like, I don't know, at least that's my impression. It seems quite common કે આ લોકો બધા either ત્યારે બધા હળુ કર્મી હતા કે શું, બધાને આવી રીતના કંઈક ને કંઈક જોવે ઇન્સ્ટન્સ અને પૂરો બહુ બધાને યાદ આવી જાય. Is that something which happens? હમણાં કે હમણાં કલયુગ છે એટલે આપણા પાંચમારામાં it's not possible.
Definitely, it's પાંચમો વારો ચાલે છે એટલે the time is really bad, and as our scripture says, it's not possible for all of us here. Only one.
Last we know of is Srimad Srimad Rajchandra ji nu jetu. That's the only current ulama, so we have heard of that.
Yeah, and there are few scattered examples here and there, just past births, and manma ave. Not everything, but partially something. કે હું અહીંયા હતો, આ ગામમાં મારા father and mother હતા. And some journalists checked all these things, and they verified that it was right, it was true. But there are a handful of examples anyway.
Also, Vinodbhai, it can be કે એ લોકોનું ઉપાદાન પણ solid strong હોય ને, એટલે એ લોકોને આવું કંઈક પણ નિમિત્ત મળે અને એ લોકો they are on their path.
Yeah, એટલે this is another way of explaining, but in simple terms કે અત્યારે આપણે જે છે રહીએ છીએ એમાં આ બધું ભેગું થતું નથી. અને એ વખતે એ હતું એમ. એટલે પછી આને those who do not say આપણે બહાર કહેતા ઉપાદાન ને નિમિત્ત ને વ્યવહાર ને નિશ્ચય ને, તો સાદી ભાષા તો એ જ છે કે જેમ હિન્દુમાં પણ કહે છે ને કે કળયુગમાં આ બધું આવું શક્ય નથી. એ વખતના યુગ જુદા હતા, એ વખતનો સમય જુદો હતો. આપણે આરા કહીએ છીએ, પાંચમા આરામાં પણ નથી. હેમચંદ્રાચાર્ય પણ એ જ કહે છે ને, પાંચમા આરામાં ગ્રેજ્યુઅલી એવરીથિંગ ડિક્રીઝ થાય છે, ઓન ડિક્લાઇન. Yeah. Thank you.
You can see that happening
Thank you.
already.
Yeah. Thank you.
Plus, Vinodbhai, તમે ઓલું સમજાયું ને, that was very good. You and I, Muruga અને
મૃગા,
હા,
એ તમે જોજો હજી બધા એ રીતે કહે જ છે.
હા,
કૃપાની કે તો કૃપા કે છે.
હા, I've always thought about it કે કેવી
ઋષિ
રીતે.
ને ઋષિ કે છે.
Yeah. So
એવા તો ઘણા શબ્દો છે. એવા તમે જેમ રૂ આવે ને
હા,
એ રી બોલે,
હા,
કૃપા એમ તો કૃપા.
yeah. So thank you.
But that's how it's a, we can say it's a regional variation, of course.
Yeah.
Even આપણા ગુજરાતી ગર્લ નું નામ કૃપા હોય તો સિવિલ સ્પેલ KRUPA.
That's right. Yeah.
અને ત્યાં કોઈનું નામ એ હોય તો સિવિલ સ્પેલ હર નેમ KRIPA.
True.
કૃપા. મેં ઋષિ સુનક નો દાખલો આપ્યો ને.
હા, હા.
આપણે ગુજરાતી હોય તો એને ઋષિ સુનક કે આપણે.
ઋષિ કહીએ.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. ચાલો.
Thank you, Vinodbhai. That was, yeah. I think Hina Ben
Okay,
will do.
sure.
Chattari Mangalam Arihanta Mangalam Siddha Mangalam Sahu Mangalam Kevali Panato Tamo Mangalam Chattari Loguttama Arhanta Loguttama Siddha Loguttama Sahu Loguttama Kevali Panato Tamo Loguttama Chattari Sharanam Pavachami Arhante Saranam Pavachami Site Saranam Pavachami Sahu Saranam Pavachami Kevali Panatam Dhammam Saranam Pavachami. Thank you, everybody. Jai Jinendra.
Jinendra.
Thank you, Hina Ben. Jai Jinendra.